Arsenal are back on top of the Premier League. But if we're being completely honest, they have been quite lucky. But hey, that's actually what makes you champions most times. If you're trying to win the league, you need some luck sometimes. In the last game, they didn't score a goal by themselves. Two own goals, 2-1 win, one in the last minute of the game. And today, 1-0 win, penalty. These are the margins that you have to look at if you're trying to be a champion. You just have to win games. It doesn't matter how you win games. Today was really, really interesting for how they won this game. But here are things that I noticed from this game. I think this is an unconvincing win. If I'm being completely honest here, this was not very convincing at all. But like I said, you have to win games. However, if you look at how Arsenal have been playing over the past few weeks, today penalty, the last game two own goals, the game before they lost. So it looks like they're starting to slow down. It's starting to look like this team is not as strong as we thought it was. But you also have to put into context that they have some players out. One of their main defenders right now, Gabriel, is injured. But I think it's now time for Arsenal to think a bit more about how they're going to approach winning this league, because these performances are not very good and they have to start winning more games. At the end of the day, you have to win games, and they've won the last two, so you can't really complain too much. But the manner in which they're winning these games is something that they might have to start getting worried about. But I do not think it's something for them to be too worried about just yet. How did they win this game? It was such a goofy penalty. I don't know what Jake O'Brien was thinking. This reminds me so much of the Van Dijk penalty against, was it PSV? So silly. Everton had played so well up until that point. They looked like they were the team who wanted to win the game more. And then you see somebody do like this. Why? What was the reason? And the craziest thing is that Arsenal players weren't even complaining. They didn't even realize. I think it was just one of the players who was the closest to the referee that was like, wait, that must be a handball. But everybody else in the box did not even notice. And the moment they started checking, you could just tell that it was definitely going to be a pen, because you wonder why was he in that situation? Why were his hands so high up? What was the reason? There was no sensible reason. But guess who steps up? Viktor Gyokeres. Now, Gyokeres has been under the microscope for the past few weeks. Everybody's complaining about how he plays, looking like he's not very convincing. Was he a waste of money? I think he needs some time. Like, cut this man some slack. I'm not ever going to want to support Arsenal for anything or defend Arsenal, but I think this is a guy who is moving to a league where the play is different. One. Two, he got injured and he's just coming back. Three, he's not fully match fit just yet, in my opinion. So, cut him some slack. Like, he needs time. And over time, we'll have to judge. But I think we live in a generation where everybody's always judging players. The moment you don't perform in your first 2 or 3 games, you're like, this guy's a flop. No, he's not a flop. Give it time. At the end of the day, maybe in the next season, everybody says, oh, this guy could actually be a flop. But give him at least a season. I know nobody's patient enough for all of that anymore. We live in a world where everybody wants things now. So, you're signing a player and then you compare him to a player who was signed to another team, and you now start to compare as well. The question is, how much time does he need? I think he should be given a bit more time. I also think that Arsenal don't necessarily play in the same manner in which he was enjoying at Sporting Lisbon last season. So give the man time. I think over time he will come good. I think he's one of the best strikers in the league. But right now it's not really working for him. But honestly, I'm happy for him scoring that goal. It was a well-taken penalty. There was no doubt about it going in the moment he struck it. So that's a good one for him. But if you look at the inconsistency of Arsenal, like I said, they started the league really well. The only loss they had was against Liverpool, which you can see was a very equal game, and it was just a moment of brilliance in which they lost that game. So you can see that so far they've been fantastic all season. In fact, in the Champions League, 6 for 6, no losses, no draws. But recently they've been slowing down. They've not been playing so well. Remember the Aston Villa game? They lost the game in the last minute. The Sunderland game, they drew the game in the last minutes of the game. What other game today? draw in. I think they've had some results where you just look at them and it's like, okay, you could do better. The draw against Chelsea, no, the draw against Chelsea, yes, they could probably have won that game. The draw against Man City, they were almost losing that game, so they came back and scored late in the game. But what I'm trying to say is that recently the results have not been as convincing. You know, the earlier results where they drop points, it was like once in a few games, but now it's like you're starting to see that they're not playing as well as they were playing before. Are they slowing down? I don't know, but now is not the time to slow down. And if you're slowing down now, the last team you want to catch you is Manchester City. Manchester City look like they could really, really be on a roll. They've won their last three games 3-0. 3-0 in their last three games. They've not conceded in three games. They scored 9 in 3. Erling Haaland is just on another level right now. So the inconsistency needs to stop in terms of performances, but the results are not too bad, but the performances need to get better. To be fair to them, they could have won this game with a large margin. They hit the bar twice, especially the Trossard shot. That was almost perfect. It was almost like the shot was too perfect, and then it came off the bar. So you can actually say that Arsenal were not that bad in this game. Yes, they only scored one goal. Yes, it was a penalty. Yes, it was not from open play. Yes, people may say that Arsenal are boring, but the honest truth is, if you're an Arsenal fan, the most important thing is winning games. And are they winning games now? Yes, they are. They've won their last two. So that's the most important thing. It doesn't matter how you do it. It just matters that you do it. As a Liverpool fan, I know how it feels when you see a team that's just winning games. And it's not even like they're playing that well, but they are winning games. And that's how champions are formed. That's how you create, that's how you see who champions are going to be. So, yes, the run of form is not very consistent. Their performances are not very good, but I don't think it's anything too bad. Another positive, however, for them is that they kept a clean sheet. Now, in the last two games, they haven't kept clean sheets, but this one, they've kept a clean sheet. And yes, you can say it's not against the biggest or strongest opponents, but that's the most important thing, winning games and keeping clean sheets. And here they've kept another clean sheet. Could have been different. It could have been, they could have drawn this game, or there were some one or two chances where, they could have conceded, but they looked assured once again, and I think that's going to be a good thing for them in general. I think they're still a strong team. I don't think there's too much to worry about just yet, but they have to be on the lookout for Manchester City. Like I said, the last team you want to be chasing you in a Premier League race is Manchester City, and they look like they're firing on all cylinders. You look at Haaland, you look at Turkey, you look at Foden, these guys are in good form. That front three will probably score against any team they play against right now, and you have to say that Arsenal need to be very careful now, because this could be a time where they lose, or they lose momentum. However, they're going to be first for Christmas, and usually a lot of people try to see, oh, who's first at Christmas? Maybe they're the ones who are going to win the league. But I saw a stat today, which really made me think to myself, like, this is a very, very interesting stat. Apparently, Arsenal have been top at Christmas 4 times. This is the 5th time, and they've ended up losing all 4 times. They've lost the league all 4 times, 2 times to Manchester City and 2 times to Manchester United. Very, very interesting. Could the same thing happen again? Will it happen again? I don't know. I don't think it. Well, I think it could happen. I would like for it to happen because I don't want Arsenal to win the league. But time will tell. Arsenal need to actually start playing better football and showing that they are ready to win this league, because if they continue like this, I do not think they can keep up, and I think Manchester City will catch them. But you never know. Football is football, and the most important thing is winning games. It doesn't matter how you do it. What matters is winning the games. But that's all I have for you today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.